So Rafaela, welcome to Soccerex. What are you expecting to find here in Miami over these next 2 days?
Well, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. What I'm expecting to see is the development of football. The US is bringing it forward, bringing it to a new level. We're very excited to see how they're mixing football and entertainment. And what I want to see here is the future, because I think the future is here.
You've just been speaking on a panel about the role of the agent. With the way football has developed so much and so rapidly, has the role of the agent changed a lot over the years?
A lot. There's no space anymore for the one-man show. It's time of the agencies and not of the agents anymore. The agents need to understand that what is required by players today is bigger than one person alone. The knowledge of one person cannot be enough to give support to all areas that are needed. Not only that, the amount of opportunities for players today on and off the pitch are so big that if you want to give the player their best chance, you need as an agent to understand that this is not about you, and you need to be humble enough to know that you need to be able to offer a very, very solid structure that will give the right advice but also will find right opportunities. Not because the players are not able to do this by themselves, but because it's not their job. It's not their job to think, how do I write the contract when I buy my house? It's the job to have the right people around them, and these right people need to come from the agency. They need to be well prepared, and they need to know how to work as a group to bring the player to his best position possible.
Yes, and of course with emerging markets, the US, Saudi Arabia and other countries, China a few years ago, is it difficult to inform players about where next to go for their careers? Do you have to balance maybe the commercial opportunities in a league like the Saudi Pro League with what might be on offer in their own country, for example?
It's funny because I believe in the Saudi project as much as I believe in the MLS, but I believe in the Saudi project because I think it is a real football project. I don't think it's a commercial project only. I think there is all the will in there to really develop football for that country, but above all for that area. And when I would advise a player about Saudi or about the MLS or about emerging markets or maybe about going back to Brazil, where I come from, it is really about where you are at that moment in your career, what will be good for you and what will help you achieve the best performance you can achieve at that moment. And then people will make jokes at me and say, yeah, but it's about the money that you go to Saudi. Can be that some people are doing this for that reason, but personally, I don't think that's the reason why you should make the choice. I have spoken to Saudi clubs in the past where I told them, they came for players of us, and I said, this player is not for you. And they would say, why? And I would say, because he would go for the wrong reasons. Because if you go for the money, you will not give what it takes. And I firmly believe that for some players, Saudi is the right place to be, not because of the money, because it's the right place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tell us about the particular challenges of being a woman in a very male-dominated world of agency.
Well, I have to say that after 30 years in the business, now it's just funny. In the beginning, it was a real challenge. It was really hard. It could be really hurtful. Lots of prejudice, lots of misogyny, maybe is the word. I could even use the word racism probably, because I'm not only a woman, but I'm also Latina in Europe. And that sometimes would make people think they could say things or behave in certain ways that were really abusive. But they don't do this to me in my face. I'm sure they still do it in my back. It doesn't change. But as I said, it became funny because if I didn't care 30 years ago, why would I care today? If I'm still here, it's because I learned not to care. I think I developed some thick skin. And it's actually today what I like about being a woman in this business is the fact that I see other women coming to me and saying, in a way or another, I felt empowered by you. And for me, that's compensation enough for the abuse.
And then finally, given the rise of social media and the intense scrutiny on players, everyone wants to know everything about them, how has that relationship with the agent and the player, where is that going in the future? Closer together?
It's interesting because when I started this business, there was no social media. There was hardly media, maybe, because I mean, a player would play, and there was not so much interest from the public beyond how he was performing. Nobody cared what he ate. Nobody cared how a player dressed. If you take pictures of the Golden Ball ceremony 20 years ago, it's like kids in jeans and their sponsor shirt, and they would just go there and have the expectation to win or lose or whatever. But it became also an event. There's much more interest today in the personal life of everybody, right? And also of the players. So that changes the dynamic of how also to manage the emotional part of it. And as per us, of course, there's more interest, there's social media, there's so much more happening that I think I go back to the idea of the agency. We need to have the proper tools to provide the player his needs at that moment, at that age, at that phase of the career. The relationship will always be personal. It's like when you have a doctor or when you have a dentist. You want your doctor to take care of you. And that's basically that. There needs to be empathy. There needs to be a connection. And when I start working with the player, I always say, maybe through the years we'll become friends. Maybe we'll become family. Maybe we'll stop at we are two professionals dealing with business. It's good enough. It depends where this brings us. It will be good enough in a way that you should never enter this business as an agent with this expectation. Oh, the player will be my family. I see some agents frustrated with that because the expectation is wrong. I am a service provider. If I can have the privilege of also then becoming friends and then maybe becoming the one your player goes to when his wife is pregnant and he wants you to know first, or when he gets a divorce and he wants you to know first, it is an honor. And I hope it develops that way. But if it doesn't, it's also okay.
Fantastic. Rafaela, it's been fascinating talking to you.
Thank
we
you
could
so
spend
much.
all day, but you've got a lot to see at Soccerex, haven't you?
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Marvellous.